back to that question from truth over falsehood, because I wanted to stay on it for a second. The next year's team, obviously quarterback, Emory's improved. Nickel people want to see. Judd, I think, has some improvement to do. We'll see what happens at that position. I think transfer portal very possible, right? Just given the history of it. But putting that position aside, I think you bring back Lyle on paper. Who knows what? There's a long time between now and December, but you bring back Lyle, you bring back Marty Brown, you bring back Pringle and Wheatley Humphrey. I think you're pretty good in that position. Javian Mallory coming in, he's going to want some snaps. If you do add another running back, he's going to want some snaps. So I don't see that being a transfer running back spot, barring any kind of catastrophic injury luck, which, knock on wood, doesn't happen. And that's assuming Fletcher goes pro, which that's not a guarantee. We just assume that running backs are kind of 3 and out, but he could come back like you saw with Penn State. Okay, so that's running back. Should be good. Tight end's going to be the same guys. I guess Bauman leaves, but you bring guys in. I think you want to see Luka Gilbert maybe take that inline role. Brock Schott and Lofton, more of your kind of H-back guys that can move around and do things that way. So we'll see there. Wide receiver, the 3 freshmen are back. We'll see how the guys like Trader, Chance, Ray, Nightcar, and all those guys develop. But you're going to have receivers coming back. Plus, you're bringing in a big class of receivers. I'm not sure you want to necessarily spend a ton there. Probably more retention, especially a guy like Malachi Tony. He's going to be a star at that point. So I don't know. Offensive line, maybe you bring in a portal guy there just to solidify it. But otherwise, I think the offense is going to be pretty good next year, depending who you have at quarterback.
Yeah, I think they'll go to the portal there, but and I think they'll do very well in the portal there. Quite frankly, the Fletcher thing will be interesting to me, D, because we saw how the Damian Martinez thing played out. They're different players, different situations. But I wonder if Miami says, "Hey, let's pay him and bring him back," and what you got there, running back. So.
Yeah, no, I think big picture running back's going to be fine, right? That's the main takeaway, barring a bad injury bug. But yeah, then offensive line will be probably the one that has the most turnover. But let's say McCoy comes back. Let's say Sampson comes back. I don't see why they wouldn't. Rodriguez at center. I mean, that's 3 right there. Plus Jackson Canwell's coming in as such a highly paid player. You expect him to start a tackle. And then, we'll see on Markel Bell. But I could see it being a pretty good offensive line next year as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Bell can come back too. I'm not completely counting that one out of the equation. Brian says pay Shannon Dawson head coach money to stay at OC. I'm not writing him off as a head coach somewhere next year either. I think it's got to be a really good situation for him to want to leave Miami. I think Miami would pay him as one of the top 3 to 5 coordinators in the country if he stayed. And I know he's had some opportunities. They weren't the perfect opportunities for him. I think he's very comfortable in this situation right now at Miami, D. So we'll see. I don't think that's a foregone conclusion. It's got to be a really, really good opportunity for him. I think he's got a good situation here where he's recruiting, but the bulk of the recruiting is done by the people around him.
Right. That's the thing. Is I think he can recruit. I think he's a great coach. I think he could be a head coach he has all the attributes of a head coach, but I'm sure he sees Mario and what all the stuff Mario does in recruiting. He's like, man, this is what it takes. And if I don't recruit like this, I have to play against guys who do recruit like this, and they're going to be making it hard for me to call plays because right now he knows he's going to have all day for his quarterbacks. And at this point, he's been getting experienced quarterbacks that are easy to coach. Not saying he needs that. You saw at Houston, he had a top 10 offense with a whole different scenario, but it's a very easy job for a guy who's already good like him. And, because he's so good, he can take care of his part of it. And then the other parts that he can't control as much are controlled very favorably, like the talent up front, for example. So I think it's a great situation for a guy like him. And obviously he's great for us. So you hope it lasts as long as it can. Keep getting these top 10, top 5 offenses.
Truth over falsehood asking if we think Miami will ever bring DVD back. Listen, I'm never going to say never. I think he's obviously done a really good job up there at USF. I will say it was interesting. They asked him about DVD and they asked him about Todd Orlando, and he kind of had 2 different tones, it seemed like. He was like, well, DVD was an analyst here. Did a good job with us. Todd Orlando, he had a whole thing about he's one of the greatest people, greatest coaches he's ever been around. So, look, I don't know what the relationship is there. I think Miami's got some darn good defensive back coaches right now. So
Yeah, and you want to talk about that 2025 team, or sorry, 26 team, since they asked about it. That secondary brings back everybody. Now you talk about Bryce Fitzgerald and Pruitt kind of leveling up, Dylan Day, on top of you bring back Zechariah Poyser, you lose Jacoby Thomas, but again, those other guys are kind of leveling up, I think, at the backup safety spot more than maybe you anticipated. That position is a little deeper than I think we thought it would be at this time, maybe a couple months ago. So I'm very bullish on that, on next year's team too. You got to keep developing, you got to keep coaching, you got to make a couple moves, and you got to keep going in the right direction, man. But I like some of the young guys that we have that are coming back, and you got to keep those guys too. Like, those guys are acquisitions. It's like Ruben Bain. I always use that example. That's an acquisition, because if you don't pursue him aggressively in the offseason, this guy's on your roster already. But if you don't take an aggressive tone towards him, he's playing somewhere else potentially, because that is college football in 2025, man. People are coming after you with tremendous aggression and resources.
Yeah, I think some of the comments here are probably closer to what I think on DVD working here again. But
yeah, by the way, a lot of questions on Markeith Williams. I mean, I put up the tweet yesterday. Look, trust me, I hate talking about those things the most. Pete, you know me. I mean, that's the last thing I want to be kind of talking about. But I think the only reason we even clarified his situation, which, the dismissal before he jumped in the portal, was just rumors kind of were starting and people were asking a million questions. And I think the idea is just kind of be clear, move on. Everybody wishes him well and hopes that he has a lot of success at his next stop, like a lot of people have. Obviously, we had limited dealings with him, but always good with us. So, all I do is wish him well. And I think he has a chance to help somebody because he's an experienced player with coverage ability and just, an experienced safety that's played. I think he'll find a home and hopefully does a good job for somebody.
I think, and I don't know if he can actually, I know it's been reported he's in the portal. I don't think they can actually enter the portal. I think they sit out. Basically what that means is like they're leaving the team to retain eligibility to enter the portal once it officially opens. Maybe I'm wrong there, but yeah, I think getting to another, because we haven't really talked about it, D. Hayden Lowe. This one kind of came out of left field to me. We were talking about it the other day. Maybe you knew something and you didn't know yet, or you didn't tell me, but like I had not heard that this was going to be a season-long thing. That was not the sentiment when I was talking to people late last week who were excited to see him play. So that was, and again, not to harp on this, but I've been saying it. I'm concerned about that second unit of D-line, D. I think this is going to be something that unfortunately comes back to bite us on the butt later in the year.
No, Lowe being hurt was not good because he was going to play this year. It just stinks. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt him long term. I believe it's like an upper body injury that is not like something that's going to be a strenuous rehab that you worry about him when he gets back, but he's missing time and you can help us this year. I think really what this does, and then McConaughey being nicked up doesn't help either because, again, these are your big-bodied guys, and Blunt plays inside too, so you don't want to necessarily rely on Blunt to be your only backup. That's why I mentioned Messidor, and I don't know if they'll go in that direction, but I think you could play Messidor on the other side, like as basically a backup to Ruben Bain, as well as being a starter on the other side, because you do have guys on the other side that can get that done, whether it's Malik Bryant, Marquise Lightfoot, guys that are maybe lighter but experienced guys that can help. So we'll see how they chop it all up. You got to get Armando Blunt back. I think Armando Blunt really is. He's not a starter, but he's going to play starter snaps. He is effectively a starter, so you got to get him back, and he's going to help you at a lot of different spots. I haven't heard anything different than what Cristobal said, which is that he'll be back this week. So that's going to be a huge one to get him back because you need him. You need his size.
Interesting recruiting note from yesterday. Miami offered another receiver, Milan Paris. Awesome name. 5 receiver committed to Iowa State. I can't help but think, because I saw this weekend Samarian Wingo was at the Florida game. From what I understand, Florida's not going to go away there. They're going to keep recruiting him hard. They were on him before he committed to Miami. I can't help to think that it might have something to do with that.
Well, I think in general, they're covering all bases, right? You want to watch senior film. You want to get guys that at least have a chance to be really good players offered and be in the picture. This is an interesting one. So, Pete, can you pull up his video? He's been talked about this guy a lot. He is a basketball kid. You think about Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State had
Jaden Higgins last year.
Really, really good receivers who Jaden Higgins, I think, is the comp for Milan Paris. Basketball player. He was down here in Miami. We didn't get him. No one got him. He was a basketball player that went FCS. But Jaden Higgins was a similar build basketball player. Milan Paris is from the Akron area. 6'5", 6'9" wingspan, 21.3 yards per catch, 597 yards total, 9 touchdowns. He was on a good football team that went 13-1. So interesting offer. I think a lot of this is just, hey, this guy's having a good year. We like his film. We weren't maybe up on him before, but Iowa State is after him, and we want to make sure guys that have a chance to play in the NFL are getting offers from Miami. And you see it here. This guy's got some juice for being 6'5", right? This is Ohio. This is not weak football. And he's standing out pretty good. There you see, just the easy movement skills at his height. Goes up and gets it. So you already had
highlights too, by the way.
Oh, it was one game? Pretty good game, yeah. Nice. Look at that. That's a sudden move off the line for a big guy. That translates right there.
Yeah. No, I like him. I like him a lot. Obviously Calvin Russell's another big body receiver they're going after as well. So, and that they'd be happy to add him to the class. Nick Lanier, there's been some talk about reclassification. We'll see what happens there.
Bro.
I think yeah.
Yeah, 26.
Can he play quarterback here?
Seriously, you got the height. 26.8 something that's true. This is a height. This guy's I think he's like a 91 overall rating. So he's a top 100, top 200, depending on the ranking service recruit that people are on. So it's not like this guy's is a sleeper, but I think the fact that he got the offer now, it's hey, look at that suddenness. Is hey, we think this guy's got a chance to be really, really good, and we want to be in on the party. Doesn't mean you're going to get him. Doesn't mean you're going to go full throttle necessarily. So who knows what all the factors are, but I think there's a guy you want to be involved in. And as I watch these highlights, the thing that jumps out again, and I keep saying the same thing. Look at this guy's first step quickness at 6'5". That's the difference between a tall guy and an NFL guy. When he can, there he goes, wins inside. When you have a guy of this height that can explode like that with the first step, that speaks well to his route running, upside, and everything else. Calvin Russell, another one with his explosiveness and rebounding prowess on the basketball court. Another basketball player who's 6'4", 6'5", similar kind of prospect than what you see with Paris.
Nick Isaac, and there's a lot of questions about this, about how many receivers Miami is going to take in this class, because he said there's some flip candidates. Jason Lopez, I don't know right now where that stands, D. I don't know if you've heard any differently than me, but I don't know that they're in really too much communication with him at this point. I think they're pretty good they feel good with Van Spafford there, and again, I just don't know how that relationship necessarily ended with Lopez there, but I don't know that he's necessarily too big of a flip candidate at this point.
I wish. He looks real good.
He looks good, but I mean, again, you tell me if you've heard anything different.
No,
I
haven't.
I don't know that he's on. I don't know that he's a flip candidate right now. Milan Paris, we'll see. I'm not calling him a flip candidate right now either, just because they offered him. I still have to look more into that situation. Russell, definitely look at him as a flip candidate. Lanier, like I said, if he reclasses, he'd jump right to he'd be an instant take. I don't think this is how many receivers are they taking. If Calvin Russell and Nick Lanier want in this class, they'll take both of them, and they're not they're not going to kick out one of the other guys in the class here, in my opinion. But Lanier, I still think he has some work to do for the reclass, so we'll see.
Question here that I want to get to from Truth Over Falsehood. What's the visitor list looking like for Saturday, D? Well, lucky enough, I have the visitor list right in front of me. So how about I just read it to you guys and we go over the visitor list right now. So Pete, at quarterback, in terms of the 27 class, obviously 26 quarterback, we already got that locked and loaded. But in terms of the future quarterbacks, class of 2027, Trent Seabour out of Thompson High School in Alabama. This guy's been playing high-level ball since he was, I think, in 8th grade or freshman. I mean, he's one of those guys that's been around for a while. South Carolina's in on this one, Oregon, Alabama, Auburn. He is originally from Hawaii, moved to Alabama, has been playing big-time football out there. He visited Miami unofficially last year. He is here for the USF game. So we've talked about it before in the bank. Trent Seabour visiting this weekend. 28 quarterback Neiman Lawrence, Northwestern quarterback last year was at Ransom. I believe he's currently ranked as the number 1 quarterback in the country in that class. We've heard about him for a while. He's somebody with a lot of talent at Miami. He's been all over from the beginning. Good sign that he's making another visit. And then 29 class, Malik Leonard, the quarterback from Chaminade. I watched his first game on national TV. He looked young, but he's been improving at a very fast rate, which you expect for a young, talented guy. And he's someone to keep an eye on. Malik Leonard had a really good game for Chaminade last weekend as they beat American Heritage, right? As Chaminade did. I know he had a good game. I think he threw the game winner to Jason Lopez. Javian Mallory, the running back commit, is visiting out of West Boca. 2026 offensive line commit, Cannon Pickett, who I love, Pete. I mean, did you see that highlight of him catching the direct snap and scoring that Wildcat touchdown?
No, I didn't. I got to check it out.
Yeah, pretty cool. We got to pull that up. That'd be a good one for the work. DeMarcus DeRoche, tight end at Cardinal Gibbons. We talked about him, commit, 27 commit. Yeah, really athletic, former basketball player who has now moved to the football side full-time, I believe. Maybe he's still playing basketball, but he's a football prospect, tight end, defensive end. We recruited as a tight end. I think he'd be a great defensive end too, quite frankly. He could do both. Other guys, Peter Pierre, tight end out of Chaminade. Got a bunch of 27 wide receivers. Jamal Robinson from Matter, Wesley Wood from St. Andrews and Palm Beach. Amari Stevens commitment to the Canes, 4-star commitment, fast guy, can play corner as well. From Miami Edison, he's bounced around different schools. Jacob Thomas from Flanagan, Kamarian Young from MacArthur, some of the better wide receivers down here. We got a lot of 28, 29 guys. I'll save those guys just because we're getting old. Who knows if we'll be around at 29. But Frederick Saintius,
defensive line, man. Don't put that on me.
Frederick Saintius, defensive lineman out of St. John Newman on the West Coast. This is a player we talked about. This is the kid, Haitian kid. I believe he's from the island of Haiti, and then he moved to the United States later in his life. He is a very, very talented guy and a late riser at defensive tackle just because of his athletic ability, the way he plays. Raw, but good talent, and Miami and other schools have kind of jumped on him. Jamar Thompson, defensive lineman for West Boca, 2027. A lot of offers for him. We've talked about him on the board. He's going to be a premier prospect from the same high school as Javion Mallory. A couple 26 commits at linebacker that we really, really like. Justin Edwards out of Edgewater, Orlando. JJ Edwards, we talked about him on the last show. Really fast, good senior clips. Jordan Campbell, another explosive linebacker prospect, committed to Miami out of Northwestern. So those two visiting together, I like how they look. I like the upside they bring. Two more commits from 26, this time in the secondary. Jontavius Wyman at corner out of Jonesboro High School, the Atlanta area in Georgia, and Cortez Redding, safety commit, Jonesboro High School in Georgia. So two teammates committed to Miami in that 26 class. Also got 27 commit Jalen Jones out of MacArthur. And then the one future name I'll highlight here, 28, Amir Sears from West Broward. He's the number 1 defensive player, I think, in the country in 2028. A lot of Jalen Ramsey comparisons. He's an elite corner. He can play safety. He can play receiver. Amir Sears, 2028. Coach Duaso talked about him for Raw Miami. He's on that team. Jalen Ramsey type talent, 5-star player.
Good list.
Pretty good list. Yeah, I'm interested in Seabour, man. People pull up Seabour's highlights. Let's just talk about him while we're talking about these guys and we close out here.
I got to get off here in a second, D.
All right, well, just here. I'll pull up the highlights then.
I'm pulling up.
Yeah. So quarterback's the one where you really watch for. Oh, here, the 26 asking, you hear anything about Israel Briggs? Didn't see him in Clovis's last game, but hadn't seen anything on an injury. I saw him on Huddle. He's playing this season.
He's been playing. The role is weird.
I don't know where he's at.
Yeah, they haven't. His Huddle is weird too because there's some plays that are like on there that he doesn't really seem to get the ball or really do anything. So I don't know if his Huddle is just messed up or he's just not a big part of their offense at this point, but I do like the athlete a lot.
Yeah, and I think it might be the Huddle because he's one of those guys that he plays everything for his teams. All right, here we go. So this is Trent Seabour. This is the 2027 quarterback. And this against who's this against? It looks like it's a good ball club, college level type competition. But this guy plays big time football. He's been good for a while. He's won a lot of games. He's thrown for a lot of yards in high school already going into his, look at that throw, getting crushed. So this is a guy Miami really likes. He was at South Carolina last weekend. He's at Miami this weekend. He's been at Miami before. He's no stranger to Miami. He goes to high school in Alabama, but he's not what I call an Alabama kid. He's from Hawaii. So to me, he's kind of a free agent. He could go to Auburn. He could go to Alabama. He could go to Oregon. which is recruiting him, or South Carolina or Miami. I don't see him as one of those, a lot of times Alabama quarterback. You're like, all right, well, he's going to go to Auburn or he's going to go to Alabama. I don't see that necessarily with Seabourn, although they are recruiting him, and I'm sure they got pitches. But, yeah, I think right here's just traditional quarterback, can scan the field, can throw the ball. This is going to be a lazy comparison because he kind of looks like him. But, like a right-handed Dylan Gabriel a little bit. Maybe not as much running, but I just see a very accurate passer who likes to throw the ball and is going to throw for a lot of yards and has thrown for a lot of yards at the high school level. I don't know. What do you see with Seabourn, P? I see you stretching.
I'm excited to see who we go in the portal this year.
Yeah, you're done with high school.
I don't want any high school quarterbacks, man. I'm sorry. I just don't want it.
Yeah, no, I'm
let them earn their stripes somewhere else. I'm just going to be that honest with you.
Hey, I'm in the same boat as you know. Yeah, 26 mentioned this against Grayson. I knew I recognized those helmets. So big time school out of Atlanta area. But yeah, I'm with you. But at the same time, look, you're going to bring in high school guys. So you want high school guys that make throws like that, which is a pretty nice throw, accurate on the run. I like that he's going against good competition. I like that he's been productive since a young age. He's not just a camp guy. Nice play there. But this is I think the name. I don't pay too. I'm maybe behind on 27 recruiting for what I should be. I know we interviewed a bunch of 27 kids. Is that coming out today, Pete? Maybe that comes out today. Those high school interviews. I'll flip them to you if you don't have them yet. We have some interviews we want to put out from the 27 class, like 5-star type players. But I don't pay too much attention to 27 at this point. But with quarterbacks, that thing moves fast. So important to keep an eye on that class. So
yeah, that was one game clip. So
against Grayson
good stuff. Yeah.
It's where he got Jake Garcia, for those who remember. That was like the last school he transferred to, and he won states that year. So
yeah, big program.
All right, Pete, I'll let you go. Go Canes. Get your lift in.
No, I told you dude, I have other stuff I need to do. I already lifted this morning, man.
Oh, all right. I will handle your business.
I told you that when we came on.
Oh man, all right. Well, handle your business.
So I'm not ending the stream. We're not getting off here.
I'll hold it for a second, but you're out of here. Peace. All right, everybody. Yeah, really quick. Want to talk about some options that you have at the Miami Hurricane team store. Look at this right here. Look at the shirts. 20% off. Use promo code CanesInSight20. You get 20% off your first item anyways. So you can get a lot of shirts for 20% off. Really cool options. You got the old school vintage. You got Cam Ward stuff. You got more traditional. You got the jerseys. You got some youth shirts for the future legends. Get your toddlers taken care of. Miami baseball. Got a big baseball interview I'm excited about. Hopefully we can get that done today. It should be coming out this week. All kinds of stuff. There you go. Honoring our military, our armed services. You got a lot of cool options at the Miami Hurricane Team Store.com, Miami HTS.com. If you're online, use promo code INSIGHT20. You get 20% off of that. And also I have to talk about a place that everybody always asks me, like, man, is it that good? Or are you just doing this for the commercial? I'm like, no, it is that good. And then they go there and they come back and they say, yeah, it's that good. You've seen it in the comments. Islas Canarias Cuban Express. How many satisfied customers have you seen in our chat who've been there, who tweet from there, who hit us up from there, and they say, man, thank you. This place is unreal. 7 different types of croquetas, all kinds of different options, from the classic Cuban sandwich, which Miami does make better than Tampa, as we will tell you SF this year. Cubaritos, all different things and flavors, desserts, authentic Cuban desserts like natilla, tres leches, you name it, they got it. The shakes, which traditional Cuban shakes, traditional Cuban coffee, plus modern stuff if you don't want to go that direction. The best Cuban restaurant on the planet, Islas Canarias Express, that is at the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, or you can go to the original place in Tamiami if you want to have more of a traditional restaurant experience, but the food is equal at both. So shout out to Islas Canarias. All right, everybody, over 1,500 on, almost 1,600 on. Like and subscribe to the show. If you want to get some CanesInSight apparel, you see the options down there right under me on the YouTube. We're going to like and subscribe to the show. Go Canes.